Here we go. I'll probably make it into a bit of a dialogue too with John, with you. So, I'd like to introduce Pam. Pam is a physical therapist of how many years, Pam?
24.
So you're ahead of me by 1 year. So, physical therapist, home care to the stars up in New Hampshire, and loving what you do as a PT. All the cool posts you have about your experiences as a physical therapist, and I think you're loving what you're doing as an entrepreneur as well. I
M-
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that
No, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't love it because
I
I don't
know.
have to do it. I love it.
And I think your kids are coming up right behind you. They're going to be starting up with their own business. Really
I was
neat
just
about it.
telling my son that,
Yeah.
like literally 1 minute before I walked in, I was like, "You can do this with me."
Well, he's already doing it with you. He's on some calls.
Yeah.
So, and I am Chad Zanotti, physical therapist of 23 years and strength coach, lacrosse coach. And we're on here. This is our midweek mindset call to talk about structure around the three F's: finances, fitness, and fun. And we'll make it into a bit of a dialogue between Pam and myself, but John, I'm sure you're gonna have some awesome insight too. So the first of this week, with regard to the financial piece, is there's a phrase that I hear a lot. And this particular phrase, a lot of people want to do this, but they're just wondering how to do this. They understand that the stock market is one way to do it, real estate's one way to do it, and having your own business, some type of business is another way to do it. And that phrase is you want to get your money to work for you. So, Pam, could you elaborate on what you feel about that phrase, what it means to you, the definition of it?
Well, with isogenics, you can use a portion of your grocery money to create a passive income producing asset. So we're all going to eat. So I think that is a brilliant way to improve your financial position because people's auto ships, the company's been in business for 21 years. So people have been ordering every month or twice a month if they want, as many times as they want, for 21 years. So once you set them up one time, they have, free range into their, wellness account, and they just order and order and order, and you receive, passive residual income from that. So, and the thing is, you're eating your overhead as a business because you can write off the products that you use, that are required to keep your compensation plan open. So I think it's just wise we all eat, and being able to help other people is just an amazing benefit.
It's huge, especially right now. Even if people can earn an extra 50, $100 a month residually, I think that's pretty special. And you mentioned for people who may not be aware, residual income. So my understanding is there's linear income and there's residual income. Why is residual income so much more powerful?
Because it's you set them up one time and you don't have to reproduce that effort. We do have commissions, based on the first time order, but it's just that residual commission, that happens when you're, at the lacrosse game with your kids, when someone's auto ship is going off, and you don't have to produce that effort again.
Then you paid while you Warren
Right.
Buffett. I think Warren
Yeah.
Buffett said that if you can't figure out a way to get paid while you sleep, you are going to be working until you die.
Right.
And that's coming from Warren Buffett. I think that's pretty powerful.
It is.
So, in a book that I loved, I think you've read it too, is Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. And his first book actually was Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think Cash Flow Quadrant for me just kind of made me think more on that right side of the quadrant, which is the business owner or the investor. Granted, there's certain phases of your life where you're only going to be able to do so much, and you got to get super creative. You got to have creative solutions when it comes to the business owner and the investor piece of it. But he breaks the quadrant down. Just a quick description. He breaks the business or the cash flow quadrant. He calls it down into four pieces. And on my left side, there's an employee and a self-employed individual. Okay, so it's on the left side, and on my right side, there's a business owner and investor. And what he says in the book is that 95% of our population is working. Sorry, help me with the numbers, Pam.
Is it 90-10?
So it's 90-10. So on one side of the quadrant, 90, the point of it all is that you want to get to the point where you are leveraging your money so that, and I was talking to my son earlier today, and I'm sorry that I'm not explaining the cash flow quadrant. I haven't read it in a little bit of while, but I was talking to my son and I said, what do you want to do? Because he's thinking about going to college and paying these exorbitant prices for college. And like, do you want to work a 9 to 5 for your life? Is that your ultimate goal? He said, no. I mean, he wants to work a job, but then he also wants to invest. He wants to get his money to work for him. So Pam, I think you mentioned this on one of our calls. He said he wants to create a situation where his job is his investor. So there you're taking that left side of the quadrant where you're an employee, but you're an employee and you're leveraging so that you can feed the business owner and the investor piece. So if you can get a small business or a home business or network marketing type of business, then you have an investment portfolio as well, maybe some real estate embedded within there. So there you're getting you're an employee, but you're taking your paycheck and you're allocating a portion of that as your investor for that opposite side.
Yes. Yeah. Because I think it's, 10% of people make 90% of the money, 90% of people make 10% of the money.
Bingo.
Yeah. And like, even I'm feeling it on the employee side, with us, I do home care, so I have to visit people's homes, but sometimes their homes are assisted livings, and in assisted livings, you have to work around breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you need to wait for someone to be washed, dressed, fed, and medicated, basically, before they're going to exercise. So they're not going to let you come before breakfast or after dinner. So there's literally only so many people you can see in a day. Where, in network marketing, you can leverage, 1% of 100 people's effort versus, 100% of your own effort, or because we're maxed out, at a certain point. And then also with saying that my son has this big soccer game tomorrow, he's a senior, it's his last game ever, a championship. And I had to beg my company to let me take it off because it was very short notice. It was only 2 days notice because they just won yesterday. So my colleagues are really the ones who are making it happen for me. My management could care less, really about my family or whatever, so it's you really want to get on that side where you have control of your time.
Control of time, huge. John, what are your thoughts on getting your money work for you and leveraging it, getting it to accrue?
I think that's huge. I think, right now, I'm going to be working till I'm 80, 90 years old. Who knows, just because of where I am financially. So I need to change some things. So I need to take care of my family.
And you can love what you do, love what you do, and then get creative, and that for me personally, it's surrounding myself with people who are doing exactly that. They're getting their money to work for them. They have creative ways to earn cash flow. Because generally speaking, and the numbers may be off a little bit, but most millionaires, they say, have at least 7 streams of income. So yes, a job is important, but like I said before, if your job is your investor and you're creating other streams of income with that money, that's best case scenario. So money working for you. And I love that grocery money. I mean, you're taking your grocery money, and I can attest to that. I mean, shake in the morning keeps me until about 2 p.m. This NAD stuff is I was out for a run tonight. I'm burning out a run before this call. It's dark out. I got my headlamp on, and I'm I can't believe I'm running this fast.
Isn't that amazing for endurance? My personal trainer noticed a huge difference in my recovery when I got on that road.
Wendy, who will probably have on this call as well, she reached out to me. She's like, you got to try this stuff. You're never going to sleep better. And like you said, Pam, 5 hours of sleep and you wake up feeling like you slept 9.
Gives you so much more time because I don't have to work out as hard and I sleep so much better. It literally gave me 15 extra hours in my week. That's why I began to share this, because for one, I felt like a moral obligation to share it. And number two, I was like, why not? I've got literally all this free time and I can do it from my phone, in my kitchen while I'm baking cookies.
So many people making cookies. But grocery money is huge, and there are so many people out there hurting. I mean, they just if they could purchase some food that's delivered to their doorstep, and it could help them to feel so much better. I mean, it's a better allocation of their dollars.
Totally. I cringe every time I bring my son to Chipotle or something like that. It's like $30 for two of us, and I'm hungry in like 45 minutes. Where if I have my shake, it's $3.71, and it holds me over for like minimum 4 hours.
It's 8:15. What's that?
I'm always like, this is like 5 shakes worth of money, like for every burrito.
No kidding. No kidding.
I know.
Yeah, my daughter, when I pick her up from gymnastics, we're on our way home, she's like, "Can we get Chipotle?" And she's got her friend in the back seat. So I'm like, can't say no to that. Go in there, and it's the same thing. You get two of those burritos, and then chips, and whatever else. You come out.
Walk for
two
$6.
kids. Two kids, it's like $35-40.
Yeah.
What happened to fast food? Even McDonald's. I bring my son to McDonald's, and it's a good $12 for one meal.
Oof.
One meal. And I remember Dave MacArthur talking about soon it's going to be $14 a meal. Well, sure enough, it's like $12 already. So,
Yikes.
But I mean, it's not like you never have that stuff. But to circle back to what we were talking about, if you can create, in essence, an asset out of something that you're always purchasing, and it's offering you income, even if you're just getting your food paid for. I don't know, Stay Fresh, or if those other food delivery services offer like an affiliate type of program, but that would be kind of neat too.
I think they'll give you, if you refer it, maybe they'll give you like $10 off your next order or something. I mean, people are pretty familiar with that sort of, even like Misfit Fruits or whatever, they've got a thing, use my code, and you get $10 off and I get $10 off.
Yeah.
I mean, affiliate marketing is not going away. So I think everyone should take advantage of it.
Yeah.
If you're going to be scrolling Facebook anyway, you might as well say, hey, I'm doing this thing. Want to try it with me?
And when you can help people, or if you can find a way to get paid for something that you're already doing on a regular basis.
Totally.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that's isogenics. It's like the two things that you do, eat and not eat. It just amplifies both of those, so you get the most out of both of them.
So that's first F. We got about 12 minutes left. So second F is fitness. And we were talking about this last week with Taylor, and quick workout. So I'm going to give you a hypothetical. You're going out to dinner with your hubby, right? And you're super psyched. You guys are going out for an anniversary dinner, and you're both excited about it. And you're like, oh my gosh, we have to leave in an hour. So you're giving yourself 10 minutes to work out. What do you do?
I work out at 5 a.m. I never work out in the afternoon, but I have a TRX, so I love that. But I have a hex bar. I mean, literally just deadlift a hex bar. I mean, if I do that enough times at a fast enough pace safely, I mean, my heart's pumping and my legs are burning. So hex bar would be my number one. TRX, I like to do some weird plank things on it. Right now we're doing this little like butt lift challenge, which is like some curtsy squats and some lunges. So I did a little video about how to amplify those with like bands and weights and, a step and stuff. So I can never run out of ways to get my heart pumping and my legs burning.
Just fill that 10 minutes up.
Yeah. I love jumping. How about you? Plyometrics is like super fun for me.
Plyos too?
Jumping. I love jumping.
And they say jumping is really good, especially first thing in the morning, because it wakes up all the nerves that are connected to your internal organs. So it wakes all your internal organs up, everything flowing. Get your lymphatic system flowing.
Energetically, yeah. Open chain stuff is amazing for energy.
Yeah. Those little the little baby trampolines, I call them.
Yeah. Rebounders.
Down for 15
Yeah, I do
minutes.
that on my physio ball, just to, like for lymphatic drainage, really. I mean, get the lymph going.
Yep. John, you get 10 minutes. What would you do for a quick workout in 10 minutes?
If I had bands or anything, I mean, you can do it. I mean, anything. I mean, you can do body weight stuff. You can do giant sets. I mean, like today, I had 25 minutes. I almost, I probably did, what is it, 5 sets of squats with my lunges right there with the dumbbells. Went right into curls, went right into my RDLs, and then finished with good mornings.
Nice.
So it was done.
That was
And
like my
legs were
morning.
shot.
That was almost my morning, exactly.
So, I mean, you can do you can make any workout. I mean, raking leaves, doing anything.
Right. You could do a 10-minute wall sit.
Yeah.
10-minute wall sit, 10-minute plank.
Right. Good luck.
Yeah.
I like to, so I don't get too out of my element. Oftentimes I have a dry erase board in my gym or my garage gym, and oftentimes I'll just write 4 exercises out and then just put number of reps for each exercise, and then I'll just keep hammering through it till the timer goes off. Now, if I'm in the midst of a set, when the timer goes off, I just complete it. And usually I try and go 30, but I'm sure you guys are the same thing where you get going in 30 minutes, and usually it turns into 40, 45 minutes. But the key is I don't like taking many breaks. Like through getting it done. That 10-minute quick exercise, you're right. You can get as creative as you want to. And for those people who maybe don't exercise all that much, it can be a walk. It can be just a quick 10-minute walk. It can be just
Zone
10 minutes
2
of sitting and breathing. Yeah. It can be anything. 10 minutes of jumping jacks and squats and push-ups. Jumping jacks, squats, push-ups. Jumping jacks, squats, push-ups.
Yeah. There's no excuse.
No.
Take
And
your
ask
dog for a
anyone
walk,
who
do something.
Yeah,
Take
exactly.
your dog.
Take your dog, yeah.
something. Now, fun. The last F is fun. So we got financial, fitness, and now the fun piece. Have you Huberman Lab, right?
Oh my God. Love him.
John, have you heard of Huberman Lab?
What? I was
Huberman?
just listening to like 3 hours of that today.
Oh.
You
Best
would
thing on
absolutely-
dopamine. Best thing on dopamine and addiction. It was so insightful.
Oh, okay.
He is a colleague of mine at work. We just,
What?
yeah, a colleague of mine. No, what?
Oh,
He's
I
not a
was saying
colleague.
Huberman was.
No, that would be amazing because I would just be talking to that guy all day
I
long.
know.
So no, a colleague at work shared the podcast with me, and when I started listening to him, it was instantaneous. I hear his voice. I told my colleague, it's like Santa. It's like you just want to listen to Santa read a book, right?
He's so brilliant.
Just is so smart, and he's so down to earth, and he's so like makes it easy to understand. And when he talks about dopamine, he's big talking about dopamine and the neural makeup of our brains and how
Yes.
important dopamine is.
Totally. We must listen to the same exact podcast.
Yeah. And when I was I quit drinking alcohol 2 years ago. And one of the reasons that I did that was, number one, I'm a dad, and I wanted to make darn certain that if my kids ever need me, no matter the time of day, I don't have any drinks in my system. So that's one of the things. But another piece was I started to learn about what it was doing to the brain, what it was doing in specific to the dopamine receptors in your brain. And what happens is because the alcohol creates such an influx and a synthetic, unnatural flood of dopamine, your brain all of a sudden starts to get used to that, and your receptors start to get used to that, so that natural things that we do throughout the day don't create that dopamine release, which you're supposed to. And a funny story is about 6 months, 8 months, 10 months into quitting, like not drinking any alcohol. And I think I don't know if I texted you, Pam, or I texted Marlene. I had this apple in my hand.
Oh yeah.
And I said,
isn't it?
I was thinking to myself, I was just as happy to bite into a crisp apple as I used to be having a beer on a Friday night.
Yeah.
It was that dopamine hit. I got that same type of dopamine hit. And it was an aha moment to me to say, there's so many ways that we can create that dopamine release in our brain. So I would ask you, Pam, what are a few things that help you to create that dopamine release, the natural dopamine release?
Number one is quality sleep. I mean, you can't create it without quality sleep. And then obviously nutrition is the precursors to any of those hormones. there's, enzymatic reactions that need to happen, especially like amino acids, especially like tyrosine is one that's in our shakes. So nutrition is like another simple thing, but I mean, exercise is the dopamine, enhancer. And cold plunges, cold shower, that also like sets you up for like 4 hours of dopamine in the morning if you can do that for like 2 minutes. Ionics actually has something called Velvet Bean. Have you seen that? That also is like a natural dopamine stimulator.
Velvet bean.
Yeah, Velvet Bean. Yeah, it's also really good for human growth hormone like production. It's really good for performance. But the other thing is caffeine. I mean, that's a dopamine thing that actually not only like improves your dopamine, but actually grows your like more dopamine receptors, which is weird. I know, but I mean, our coffee, it's infused with the green tea, and then they got the MCT oil. So it's clean, it's mold free and pH balanced. So I feel good about that. Intake of caffeine. That's all caffeine I take. But
I sent John. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, those are my top tips.
Sent that's interesting about the ionics. And John, these are a couple things that I can certainly share with you. The ionics, I think I mentioned it on one of the calls that Taylor and I were on. John Anderson, God rest his soul, when he was alive, he said when he was just getting this company all started up, when they had, I don't know, 20, 25 products or something, he said that if he was on a deserted island and he had to choose one product, he would choose ionics.
That'd be mine too.
Because of the adaptogens, because of all of the natural compounds in there that work symbiotically with each other.
Totally.
And that's one
There's
of the things
that it can't do for like sleep, stress, energy, mood, performance, even libido. I mean, it's literally it probably has over 50 herbs in it. The other thing is morning light. I mean, that really getting that 10 minutes of light in the morning in your retinas really like sets you up for success. Not only the dopamine, but with sleep cycles, which helps with the dopamine on the other side.
Definitely.
You're a morning person. See you at 5 a.m.
I'm gonna get up at 4:30. Actually, I'm reading a book, and there's a 30-minute and a 15-minute meditation in this book, and I listen to it when I open my eyes in the morning. Like this morning, I actually woke up at 4:15. I put my earbuds in, and I listened to this right away. And then right before I go to bed, the last half hour, I listen to it too. It's Jose Silva, the mind training method.
Yeah.
And it's so throughout the day, our brain waves are about 20, I think it's 20 hertz. If the unit is correct, 20 hertz. And for us to really focus in and zone in and appreciate hunches and nudges that are happening in our environment, we need to be at about 10 hertz. Yes. So when we wake up in the morning, we're at about 10 hertz.
Yeah.
And when we go to sleep at night, when our brains are kind of shutting down, we get to that 10 hertz. But throughout the day, we're at 20 hertz. So it's very difficult, unless you've been doing it for a while, it's very difficult to meditate during the day.
Right.
So this particular meditation, it has a background tapping to assist your brain with lowering its frequency or relaxed frequency. I listen to that in the morning, and he has different messages. There's the body scan. The first part is a body scan. The second part is a visualization, and the third part is affirmation. So it's really, really cool. So I'm up at doing that meditation morning and night, and then like you said, and that for people who aren't morning people, I think that's the most powerful part of the day.
Yeah, totally.
The most powerful part of the day.
Huberman has a guided thing like that. It calls it non-sleep deep rest. So it's not sleep, but it's like a deep rest, but it's different than meditation, but it does have that like imaging where you're like scanning your body and like kind of like sinking down lower into like the surface and stuff. It's very powerful.
So, John, I'm interested if you grab his podcast, I'm interested in what you think. The dopamine, John, I'm sure that you've worked with football players, athletes, high level athletes for the last 20 years plus. When you're talking dopamine, if you have that athlete that comes to you and they're like, you know what, maybe they're just stressed out, school's getting them, or family stuff is getting them. What are some things that you suggest to them to create more dopamine so they can more chill out and hit that Zen space?
I mean, like you guys were saying, sleep
Mhm.
is the number one. Biggest is exercise. I mean, and then mine is visualization, is visualizing, seeing where you want to be, having a positive day, waking up in the morning, just saying, hey, I'm gonna have a great day,
Yeah.
and going from there. I mean, once you say that, you can make a lot of things happen. But I think the biggest thing, like you guys were saying, was sleep. And then, you gotta exercise. My big thing is I'm gonna have a rotten day if I don't exercise somehow.
Mm.
If I don't
Mhm.
get it in.
Same.
So I'm gonna be in a bad mood or something. So I gotta get something in.
Yeah. There's so much room for improvement with sleep hygiene though, especially with college kids and the blue light and the phone and the computers and stimulants, the energy drinks. And I mean, there's so many easy tweaks that they could improve their sleep quality.
So the hard thing is right now for us is we have the 4 dogs now. So the dogs are up all night long
Ooh.
and I have to take them out. So I don't get my 5 hours of hard sleep like I used to. I get into that deep sleep. I mean, I go to sleep, I get that 2 hours, and then one of the dogs is waking me up.
Oh my word, it's like a newborn.
Yeah. So I mean, I haven't had that solid sleep.
Are these dogs like aged, or why do they have to go out in the middle of the night?
The one's aging, and then you got the pup, and then I mean, they hear something outside.
Oh man,
Black lab's going, the little dogs are going.
heck
So,
no,
yeah, so,
heck no.
so my sleep is interrupted big
Oh
time.
man, I have this thing called Bed Jet. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's like HVAC for your bed. It was from aerospace. They had it, and then they used it in professional sports too. But it's like you each have a zone, and it's like blows either hot air or cold air into your side of the bed. It's like through a double sheet, whatever. So you can go from like 72 degrees to like 107. My bed's like so high tech. I really value my sleep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, no joke.
I have a memory foam topper. That's my
I have a whole memory foam bed.
the extent of ours right now. Oh, cool. Well, this is again, financial. We talked about money to work for you,
Yeah.
leveraging your money. We talked a little about cash flow quadrant. I think we may go over that in a little more detail in a future call. Fitness, quick workouts can be anything like we talked about, and then fun, dopamine. And if you have not listened to him, Huberman Lab, it's on every podcast platform. Amazing information. Has some guests on there that blow him away, which
That's
is
true.
pretty neat. I think he
He's got
had
all
some
sorts of
on.
toolkits too in the show notes, all free stuff. That's his goal, is just to get free science information out there.
Unbelievable for athletes too, John, for anyone and everyone. So we will be back next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And any closing statements, Pam and or John?
No, just thanks for having me. I love talking science. I love talking fun, and I love talking fitness.
You too, John.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, keep this going. Taylor, either Taylor will be on next week or we'll have a guest. We're just kind of going with the flow with this, getting it going and offering hopefully some great value. So thank you both for coming on tonight.
Thank you. Have a good night,
Nice
guys.
meeting you, Pam.
You too. Take care.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
All right.